Patch notes. We got some nerfs, we got some buffs, we got some cool stuff. Free rotation characters now have an icon to select and identify them. Battle Pass XP match rewards increased to 10 for wins, 5 for losses. That's huge. Lowered the requirements for a number of seasonal missions. Has become 50 at all of these. The Battle Pass is going till November, so you're definitely going to have plenty of time to get these regardless of if they're 50 or 75. Arya, Air Ground Up Special will now more accurately launch them at an angle to allow follow-ups for Arya. When I was doing the Arya videos, or just maxing Arya and making the TikToks, that was definitely one of the most frustrating things. It felt like that's her most consistent kill option, and it doesn't have a giant hitbox or anything. So the fact that it wasn't really consistent in allowing for follow-ups was kind of a big problem, kind of frustrating. So I'm glad that's been changed. Air Up attack. The first hit will now more accurately combo into the second hit. Again, that was a huge pain in the ass in the progression of that character. It felt like I was playing Smash Bros, and not in a good way. Neutral air attack now is easier branching on hit. That should also be good. I do think neutral air could possibly even use a slight hitbox buff, but I do know hitbox changes are probably the next big patch they're planning to roll out, so not going to worry too much about that here. Ground side attack will retain velocity on the first hit of side attack. Grounded down attack now is earlier dodge branching. Air ground neutral special fixed a bug where Arya would not copy over capsule hitboxes on her normal neutral attacks when stealing a fighter's fate. Is sort of a just more consistency bug fix than anything. And I don't think any of these buffs are too insane. They basically are just making her work better rather than making her specifically better. Arya is one of those characters where you need to be very careful, because any large buffs to Arya or even slight buffs have a chance to snowball into some really scary, dangerous shit. Batman Air Ground Side Special fixed a bug where Batman would overshoot his grapple if the fighter was grappling to dodged. Fixed the overshooting distance when grappling to an ally. Fixed Batman's grapple failing at short distances under high latency. This should be a fix for Batman's grapple. Ground side attack. First hit added 3 frames of whiff recovery. That's super nice. Batman's neutral combo was a little bit too spammable, and I like that a lot of the changes they've been doing is just making things a little bit more consistent, a little bit easier to punish, which has been one of the more frustrating things in this game for a lot of people, I think. Air ground neutral attack. This is battering. So coming in patch 2, battering pickup will now return 9.45 seconds of its cooldown, down from 11.55. Makes a window where battering is not used. I think that's a good change. Battering was kind of free, and I think that honestly is a bit better of a change. I think it would be better if battering had more of a cooldown when you caught it back, but had a shorter cooldown overall. So possibly reducing the total charge up time of battering. But I could also see that maybe pro Batman players or people who didn't drop Batman after maxing him to max the entire rest of the cast, like this dumbass right here, probably don't miss their battering or throw it into projectiles to get it destroyed all the time. Bugs Bunny has been a huge point of contention. He was all over Evo. Definitely one of my least favorites to play against, and a character that stops being fun to play because they're just far too bust. So Bugs Bunny is a bit too safe in everything he does. We've given him more additional whiff punish windows to help address this. Air Up Special, fix an exploit where he can spawn 2 rockets. Side Special, same thing. Air Ground Neutral Special, spawn multiple safes without triggering his cooldown. Geez, Bugs could just duplicate everything, huh? Safe reduced from 16 to 14. I still feel like the safe HP is a little bit strong. It might just be me, but I think the safe and Jerry are 2 of the most obnoxious projectiles in the game, because even if they're placed poorly and you have a chance to hit them, you are not going to kill them before their user hits you out of what you're doing to it, and it just doesn't really feel great. I would imagine still needs some tuning. Air down special, Bugs' previous tunnels will disappear when creating new tunnels. Air up attack added 4 frames of whiff recovery, side attack 5 frames of whiff recovery, neutral attack whiff recovery of 5 frames, ground down attack, Pi max lifetime set to 8 seconds from infinite, pies no longer apply a slow. Thank God. That was one of the most obnoxious things. There's a lot of cool stuff Bugs can do with pies, but it was one of those things that was just really frustrating because there's not really a way to get in. You just have to take the slow, basically. If he can set up a pie loop before you can get in on him, he will get the slow off. And I'm not a huge fan of that. I think that's a solid change. I don't know how much these will really affect Bugs players. I mean, those frame nerfs are pretty heavy. It could reasonably stop it, but I think the main problem people have had with Bugs has been hitboxes. And I think that a lot of these changes, when the hitbox nerfs inevitably do come out, may end up being a little not great. Finn has also been a character that people do not like playing against, because he is also really, really safe. Passive attacks. Attacks affected by attack decay no longer spawn coins, spawns with 100 instead of 200, so a little bit less shop on spammy Finns and Finns in general. Not a bad thing. Air down special. Fixed an issue where the gem required 200 but only cost 100 to spawn. Gem now requires and costs 100 gold. I think gem is Finn's coolest thing. I think the fact that it costs money is a cool mechanic and it leads to a lot of interesting stuff. I think that's a good change. Airside special added whiff recovery, up special. This is the backpack. Reduce the strength of the vacuum effect on the backpack. Weaker hits of the backpack will no longer overwrite stronger knockbacks from other attacks. This was really noticeable because you'd be able to catch someone in backpack while they were getting hit by a big move. So if someone, let's say, Iron Giant down being, right, where they're doing the cannonball, you could reasonably spin backpack underneath the cannonball and your stronger ending hit or just the combo potential would add like 20% kill them. So this will overwrite that so you won't just be stuck in these ridiculous moves. Air side attack. Reduce the active frames to diminish Finn's ability to hit fighters behind him. It's always nice to see moves get a little bit more consistent. This is closest to a hitbox change in these patch notes, which is nice. Round down attack. The distance now scales with how charged the attack is. So maybe there's a limit to it, but it should mean that people can't just run across the stage and spike you, which is nice. Round side attack. Increased whiff recovery for the first hit. That's nice. I feel like a lot of the grounded sides in the game have been a little bit frustrating to deal with in this game, and Finn's is definitely one of those. On the house perk, fixed an issue where Finn still spent gold items on items spawned by the perk. It's so fucking funny. I never used that perk, but I'm very much glad I didn't because it would just get rid of my gold. Slightly reduce the launch speed of gems spawned by the perk, should fix issues that arose when this perk was combined with the Make It Rain Dog perk. That's nice. I mean, you don't really want gems to be flying all over the map anyways. Garnet got some changes. Song activation starts earlier on frame 12 instead of 30. That is a huge change, which is nice because the song always felt like you really had to get a read to get it off in time because you needed a full half a second to pull out your song. Air ground down special. Fixed a bug where Garnet would be stopped by Iron Giant's collision when she moves with her down special. I think I may have seen that when I was working on the Garnet EXE video. Air neutral attack, slightly higher base knockback. That's a little bit better. Garnet, I feel like she needs more than this though. Her kit, especially on the ground, feels super disjointed and weird. Parley changes. Stuffy bat. VFX now shrunk to better match the explosion radius. Weight increased from 42 to 44. I think this is enough. I didn't think Harley was bad, and I think making her projectiles a bit easier to read and giving her a tiny change to weight might be all she really needs. Generally speaking, she feels absolutely fine the way she is. Iron Giant VFX now better matches Iron Giant's size without making the screen too busy. projectile block, speed boost, and Steven bubble. Air ground down special fixed an issue where VFX trails would persist and fill up the screen. This happened so many times. I never knew it was Iron Giant specifically that was bugging, but can no longer use Cannonball as an attack when out of air specials. Why could you? Knockback angle changed to send fighters more horizontally and away from the Iron Giant. Fixed issues that allowed for infinitely bouncing enemies near the ground. Air ground neutral special. These are the bolts. Gray health from activation reduced from 2 plus bolts HP for 5 seconds to bolts HP for 3 seconds. Gray health from ally overlap reduced from 5 HP for 5 seconds to 3 HP for 3 seconds. Ground forward special. Iron Giant grabs are completely blocked by incompatible states. Air up attack can no longer hit the same target multiple times. I was always confused by this. I didn't get whether or not it was supposed to. It felt very inconsistent. Air neutral attack, final knockback, send more horizontally and away from Iron Giant, increased knockback scaling. Grounded up attack, added gray health from scrap reduced from 3 HP for 5 seconds to 2 HP for 3 seconds. Allies that consume scrap will overwrite any gray health they have from consuming scrap. Ground forward attack, fixed attack decay not triggering for all part forward attack combo. Ground down attack, gray health from art reduced from 10 HP for 10 seconds to 6 HP for 6 seconds. So Iron Giant kinda got gutted. I was not expecting this many nerfs. I do think they could be fine. I do think Iron Giant should be a character that kind of like Ganondorf kills very well if given openings. Him being a combo character in any way was a little weird to me. So I'm kind of glad a lot of that has been changed. Jake. Air down attack. Removed instant cancel out of the attack to prevent skateboard infinites. No longer bounces off allies. That is nice. Ground up attack, additional whiff recovery, slightly later charge cancel window to make it a bit more committal. LeBron. I personally think that LeBron kind of in a weak state. I don't think LeBron is great. Air ground side special. LeBron solo dunk no longer spawns a shockwave on the ground. Oh, finally. That was so obnoxious because you wouldn't get hit by it. You would get hit by the shockwave and it would apply 5 stacks of weakened and kill you. The alley-oop teleport version of LeBron's dunk spawns a shockwave and will launch players into the shockwave. Shockwave will launch fires into a final hit that applies weakened debuff. So this is the original way it works. And I like that that's been changed because a lot of the LeBron players do not use basketball aside from base combos and will just end up side B spamming the entire match. Fixed a bug where LeBron can dunk himself into the sky. Those are always good. Coming from someone who used to play Batman, it's nice to see that changed. Ground air down special, no ball, adjusted to prevent ball spam. Air side attack, branches earlier on hit, fixed for hitbox hitting behind him too much. Air neutral attack, branches earlier on hit to increase combo potential, fixed for ball neutral, branching into no ball neutral air. Ground side attack, ground down attack, remove shared attack decay from side attack and down attack. Ground side attack, 3-hit combo more consistently. That was always a bit annoying personally when I played LeBron. Ground neutral attack, fixed angle of attack. Basketball, fixed some team color issues that would occur when reflecting LeBron's basketball. Fixed an issue where he could be stuck attacking without his ball while visually holding his ball. That one is a huge change. That happened to me a few times and I genuinely lost games over it. Hot Hands perk. Does it actually work now? When an ally catches a no-look pass, while Hot Hands is equipped, the basketball pass buff will emit flames to let allies know they will throw an ignited basketball. Rain Dog. Air up special. Removed hit pause on ally that threw Rain Dog when Rain Dog connects in ball form. Air ground neutral special, increased cooldown. Oh, that's the tether. The tether is that. Air up attack, hitbox size increased. That one was also a really frustrating move to try and hit. Shaggy side special felt a little bit too unpunishable, so we've added a bit of whiff recovery. Thank you. Finally, those brain dead Shaggy players will have to use new moves. Rage air side special, recovery increased by 2 frames. Now batter matches Rage ground side special. Addressed an issue where Shaggy could perform 2 Rage specials. Again, annoying bug. Rage ground down special. Shaggy's shockwave will launch fighters into a final hit that applies weakened debuff. Ground air side special, added 4 frames of additional whiff recovery. I don't think Shaggy really needs any giant nerfs. but I do think this will make playing against those spammy, annoying Shaggy players a little bit easier. Steven, ground down special. Watermelon Steven ability cooldown begins when Steven is wrung out, fixed where it could spawn inside of ceilings and be stuck. Air neutral attack. No longer will animation voice acting. Fixed an issue where Steven's intro failed to play. Taunt fixed an issue where Steven could only perform his up taunt. I don't think Steven needed any real changes, so I'm kind of glad to see that that's the case. And I think Watermelon Steven being effectively on a longer cooldown, not that big of a deal. Superman nerfs. Grounded neutral attack, whiff recovery, up attack, whiff recovery, down special, whiff recovery. Those are all nice. I think the thing that most players are more annoyed by, and the most frustrating part about Superman that I think needs to be adjusted, is his side special hitbox. So I'm a little surprised that they didn't address that specifically. I think that Superman's most irritating issue is just the ability to fly around and outspace certain players and kill them at like 30 by dragging them off stage. Taz. I'm very interested to see how they're changing Taz, because on the last patch, they gutted him. Chicken Bebop. Fixed a bug where transformed fighters could receive buffs that would not appear visually when they return to their normal form. Reduced duration, increased size. This was always really frustrating. It was always way too hard to hit the chicken sometimes, which is weird because it should effectively be a free kill. And Taz is just kind of slow, so it was a pain to try and hit them. Air ground down special, adjusted projectile movement to be more forward and less of a lob. His down special always kind of felt bad. When Taz spits a projectile, it will maintain its original speed. So this is effectively our first real reflector, which is nice to see. Air ground neutral special. If Taz eats a projectile that can't be spat out, he will refresh a count of his apple core. Fine. Increased size of hit collision for Taz eating projectiles on his neutral special. Also made it possible to eat projectiles a few frames earlier. That was always annoyed. Taz deals 1 stack of weaken debuff every time you choose an enemy. Fixed a bug that allowed for ground movement after eating an enemy fighter. Those are all good changes. I like those. I do not see anything about the graphical bugs though, so that's a little annoying. Air ground up special. Damage reduced. Base knockback reduced. Fixed a bug where enemy fighters could become invulnerable to the fight cloud after dodging it. Up special was basically just tornado on cooldown, so not that big of a deal. Air ground side special. This is tornado. Now on a cooldown with the 7-second cooldown, not too bad of a cooldown. While cooldown is active, side special is a weaker version of tornado. Pretty much exactly what we said should be changed. Full tornado has a 1.5 second duration and receives an additional 1 second after passing an ally. On cooldown, 0.25 second duration and does not gain additional duration by passing an ally. And it effectively means they can maybe start to buff other areas of Taz's kit without worrying about tornado becoming too oppressive again. Ground up attack now, 2-hit attack. That is nice. He needs more. I think Taz still needs some more buffs. I think that these changes are going to make projectile characters a little less annoying and Chicken a little bit better in terms of consistency, but not in terms of its duration. Dynamite now applies projectile perk effects. Air normal attacks. Fixed a bug that would prevent from using air. Air up special. This is the Nikita. Fixed an issue where Jerry would continue to have active hit frames when falling from the rock. I did not know that was an issue. I thought that was an intended thing, and it was always really annoying when Jerry had finished the rocket of death and would fall and you would die because he hit you on the way down. Velma got gutted. Airside special, reduced move distance. Distance traveled gave Velma additional recovery that was not intended. Air up special, reduced weaken stacks from 3 to 2. So we'll no longer chain air down attack as easily to prevent easy application of damage. Ground side special, reduced gray health from 12 HP for 4 seconds to 6 HP for 6 seconds. That is a big nerf there. Air down attack, increased recovery. Air side attack, added whiff recovery. Air ground neutral attack fished issues with word wobbles would go through bugs as tunnels. Reduced ammo count from 4 to 3. Reduced ammo return from 11 to 10. Weight decreased weight from 63 to 60. Knowledge is power perk. Reduced gray health from 7 HP to 3 HP for 3 seconds. Velma got gutted this patch. Holy shit. I do think Velma was always supposed to be more of a support in terms of buffing your teammate and spacing out your opponents rather than what she ended up being, which was she could just do everything. So I don't think these guts will necessarily hit her as hard as Taz was hit by his gutting. And then Wonder Woman, ground, air, neutral special. Lowered cooldown from 13 to 12. This is the whip. I think that's fine. Ground side special. Projectile shield comes out earlier to allow her to better react to incoming projectiles. That's a good change. That perk was kind of useless. Air up attack. Hurtbox should now much better match the animation. Always a good change. Weight increased from 65 to 76. That is a huge buff. Shield of Athena signature perk. Adjusted scale of projectile for Shield of Athena signature perk to cover an edge case where projectiles would pass through during a dodge. That is a cool buff, but no one is going to stop using the whip perk. The whip perk is so good that I think it should just be integrated into her kit. I know that people like Nakat, who's probably the best person to talk to about Wonder Woman's current place in the meta and what she needs consistency-wise, has also talked about how the Whip of Hephaestus, I think it's called, is just so good that it should function as the default perk. But that's going to wrap up our patch notes stuff. I hope anyone tuning in on YouTube enjoyed hearing some thoughts on these. And yeah, see you next time.